Hey everyone, welcome back to new video. In this video we are going to create a simple image search application. So in this tutorial we are going to use a modern UI toolkit using which you can write our UI. So the name is Jetpack Compose, and in this tutorial we are going to use Jetpack Compose, and also we are going to follow some advanced topics or advanced way using which we can create our application. So let's get started and tackle all these things in this application. So of course the first part is adding dependencies, because we are using a different type of APIs in our project. So that is why we need dependencies in order to get that API from somewhere else. So for that you need to go in our build.gradle module app level file, and this is all the dependencies. All right, so if you don't know how to get all these dependencies, just check out my GitHub repository, link in the description box. After doing all these things, make sure you need to add these two IDs. First one is kotlin capped and the second one is Dagger Hilt. Alright, so Dagger Hilt is basically used for dependency injection in Android. Go to build.gradle project level file, and here you can find some dependencies. So add these dependencies, or you can say the class path. So the class path of our Dagger Hilt, class path of our kotlin gradle plugin, and for our build.gradle. Alright, and make sure the version is the latest one. In my case it is 1.6.10, and the compose version is 1.1.0. okay, so now I am going to create two packages. Actually I already create this two packages. First one is di, second one is for our network call. So in di we are going to create a new object, but before that we are going to set up our hilt. Right click new kotlin class slash file and just create an application. I am going to give the name base application. So this is a class, and make sure this class is extend application. So application, import this application and annotate it with hilt android app, and after that go to manifest and register this application. Alright, so our hilt is set up. Now I am going to show you the API which I am going to use in this project. Alright, so I am using Pixabay API, so you can go to pixabay.com, and after that just open this explore section, go to API, and in the API you are going to see this kind of interface. Just use get started and you can generate your API key. After that we are going to use this URL for fetching the data from REST API. So here you can pass your API key which you can generate from this API generator or whatever it is, and after that you are going to get all these data. And what I am going to do, first I am copy all this, Control A and Control C, then after I am going to create some model classes for our retrofit response. So right click in the network section, new. Here you can see kotlin data class file from JSON. This is a plugin which you can get. If you don't have, you can find this plugin by using this approach. File, you can go to settings, and in the setting you have market. Here you can see plugin. Open this plugin and search kotlin. Here you can see JSON to kotlin class. Just download this and restart your Android Studio, and after that when you right click on it in the new, you are going to see this plugin. So I am clicking on this particular plugin, and then after paste all of my data, format it, and in the bottom you can give the class name. So I am using Pixabay response. It is making some sense to me and also for you. So I am just generate this two class. So here you can see two kotlin data class file generated successfully. Here you can see Pixabay response, and we are going to get list of hit. So hit is a main model into which we are having all of our data regarding the image. Okay, so I'm just making a new package, right click, new, and the package name is model. So model package name is making some sense instead of just put all this thing into network. All right, so now I am going to create a interface for our retrofit. So here you can create a new interface, and I am simply naming this API service. So this is our interface, and here you can make a network request call. So in my case I'm using get HTTP method because we need to fetch data from the REST API, so that is why we are using get. And make sure to create a suspend function because network request taking some time and we can perform this operation into our main thread, so we are using coroutine for that. Okay, now suspend function get list, all right, get query images, and here you can pass your query. So in the query part, it is first you need to import this. In the query part we have q query which is a type of string. Second we have our API key, so key, your API key you need to pass here, and I am going to just check the URL. So here you can see this URL has this base URL which is a https://pixabay.com/, and after that the endpoint is API / and then after here we have three queries. First one is the key, second one is the q which is our query which we pass in order to get all these images, and the third one is image type. So image type is, in our case it is a photo. If you want to take video you can pass video here instead of photo. So the third query is our image type. So just create one more query. So query, here you can pass an image type. So image type which is a type of string. Now this will return the model which we had created over here, Pixabay response. So just use this Pixabay response. All right, and in the get we need to pass API / because the base URL is injected by our Dagger Hilt, so we are going to create that thing. So here you can right click, new, generate a object naming Hilt modules. So Hilt modules, so this is a install in our singleton component, and it is also annotate with module so that it will tell a Dagger Hilt that I am a module, you can use my injection. And after that use provide. So this function will provide the object actually. So function provide API service, and it will return API service. So make this singleton because we don't want to create again and again this particular object. So we have to return the API service. For that I am using Retrofit for implementing its methods. So Retrofit builder, here you can pass your base URL. In my case it is https://pixabay.com/, and make sure at the end you have to add this /. So paste here, this is your base URL, and we need some kind of converter factory. So this converter factory is actually convert the JSON object which is coming from web server to our data classes which we had created over here, Pixabay response. So JSON converter factory dot create, and after that just build this. So now our retrofit will build successfully. It's time to implement our API service. So just append create and pass our API service class.java. Now this line is actually create our API service, or you can say implement our API service, and the party which is doing this thing is retrofit. Okay, so we don't have to take kind of uh, you can say we don't have to take care of this. Retrofit will take care of this thing. Alright, so now we have our API service. Okay, we have our API service, or you can say Hilt module, and this interface is going to be implemented by the retrofit. Now I am going to create one more package, and the package name is util. So all the constant enums is actually placed in this util package. So right click, I am going to create one more object naming constant, and in the constant I am going to create a base URL. So the base URL is this one, so I am just cut this part from here, paste in here, and after that go into our Hilt module, and instead of passing the actual value I am using constant, and then after we pass base URL. Okay, and that's all. And the second constant is our API key, so you can use your API key. I just pass my API key but not here. All right, okay, so now everything is fine. We just add our base application name in our application tag, and make sure you need to take permission of internet, because this application is using internet, so that is why you have to add this particular user permission. Okay, now in the UI you need to create one package naming component. So in this component package all of our screen is actually exist. Okay, so in our case we have one screen only, which is naming main content. So right click, just create a kotlin file class/file, naming is main content, and this is a file. Okay, and after that we are going to create a repository for our main content. So I am going to give the name is main repository, and this is a class. And after that we need to create a view model, because we are using MVVM pattern, so we have to create a view model and a repository. So I am giving the name main view model to my view model. So this is a class. So we are going to proceed with this view model. So first we need to extend this class with view model and annotate with Hilt view model, and we are going to inject our repository in here, repository. Okay, import this inject, sorry. All right, now this particular view model is set. Go to our repository, and here we are going to inject the API service. So private var API service, and now we are going to use our API service in here. So before continuing this particular section, we are going to create a sealed class in order to represent our state. So for that, go to util, right click, new kotlin class/file, and I am going to call this sealed class resource. So this is a sealed class and it is a generic class. All right, so resource, and the type is T. We are going to create a class and I am going to give the name is loading. So the type is T, and in our resource we are going to take two things. So the first one is data, which is a type of T and actually it is a nullable. The second one is message, which is a type of string and it is also nullable. Alright, so initially we just make these two variables null. Alright, now this class loading is actually extend the resource. So T, and in here if it is a case of loading, pass nothing. The second class is for our error. So error, pass T, and the data part is actually null, and the message part is, so the message part we are going to pass resource T. Here you can pass the message only. So message, remove this data because in error we are not finding any data from the REST API. And the third one is success. So in success we actually get our data, extend this class with resource type T, and in the data part we are going to pass the data which we received in this class. So this sealed class is actually representing our state. So the first state is our loading case, second one is error, third one is success. Now go to in our repository, and this repository create one function within this repository naming get query items, and pass your query, which is a type of string, and this will return the resource or the sealed class which we have created. So resource, and the type is pixabay response. Use try catch block in order to catch an exception. So exception, and we are going to return the resource. So I am going to create one variable in here, result, using our API service get query images, and here we need to pass the query. So the query is q, API key is constant dot key, and the image type is photos. Photo, we need to check. So it is a photo. Alright, it is fine. So now this is a suspend function, so it is called only in suspend function. Now it is fine. So we have to return a resource. So it is a success. So resource dot success, and just pass the data. So the data is result, and if it is the case any kind of exception is occurs, so pass resource dot error and pass the message e dot message, make it to string. Alright, so in the repository part we actually done, and now it's time to return. Alright, so now jump into our main view model. So in our main view model we are going to create one state data class. So it is actually holding the state in our compose, because compose is recompose every time when any kind of update is occur. So it is a little bit of problematic using sealed classes. You can actually hold the state. So now right click into our components, create a new kotlin data class, and I am going to give the name is main state, and it is a data class. So now here we are going to create three variables. The first variable is loading, which will tell that the state is loading or not, and initially we just say no, it is not the case. And the second one is actually our data, and the data is list of hit. Okay, and it is a empty list. And third is, so we have loading part, we have data part, of course we have third state, which is a error. So it is a string, and initially it is a empty string. Now jump in our main view model, and here you are going to create list, which is a type of mutable state, and the state type is list of hit. Import the hit, it is a type of mutable state of, and initially pass empty list. Okay, now create a function get image list, pass your query, which is a type of string, and then after we call our main repository, which we actually inject over here, but our Dagger doesn't know how to inject main repository. So go to into our Hilt module, and here use provide annotation, and just give a technique to our Dagger Hilt how it will inject main repository to our class. So we are going to give that technique. So provide main repository and pass our API service. Now because API service is provided by this technique, it is very easy for this to inject API service into this function. Now it will return main repository. Just simply return our main repository, pass API service to this, and we actually give the technique using which Dagger will provide this main repository to our main view model over here. Alright, so now we are going to use this main repository. So now we are going to use ViewModel scope launch, because this main repository, the suspend function, we can't call this function in a function in which suspend is not appended, because coroutine function is actually called within a coroutine. Alright, now just continue. Use our main repository, get query items, and pass your query. Now this will give me a result, so called this a result. Alright, so now check the result. So result is loading. So when it is a case our result is loading or error or success, so we have to perform different kind of operation. So the first one is loading. So in the loading case we actually pass the state. So instead of passing list of hit into our mutable state, we are going to pass main state. Okay, so remove this thing and pass main state to it, and just initialize this thing with main state. Now main state is loading is true because it is a loading case. Now in the error case I am just copy this, paste in our error case, and in the error we are going to pass string something went wrong, and the success part we actually get the data list dot value main state, and we pass data which is a list of it. So in the result dot data dot hits, which will basically give me a list of its. Now cut this thing, paste in here, pass the list into it. Okay, now it is fine. Remove, actually not remove the result. Now it is fine. We actually perform, or you can say representing our state with some data into it. Alright, so I think we have finished all the thing. Now we are going to create our Compose UI for this particular web service. So let's get started and create our Jetpack Compose UI.